Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel. How would you define climate change?
Climate change refers to long-term shifts in weather patterns and environmental conditions, resulting from human activities that increase the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere.
What are the main factors contributing to climate change?
The primary factor is the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas, which release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Deforestation, industrial processes, and agricultural practices also contribute to greenhouse gas emissions.
How does climate change impact ecosystems and biodiversity?
Climate change disrupts ecosystems by altering temperature and rainfall patterns, leading to habitat loss, species extinction, and shifts in natural processes. It also affects the timing of biological events like flowering and migration, impacting the delicate balance of biodiversity.
Are there any connections between climate change and extreme weather events?
Yes, climate change intensifies extreme weather events such as hurricanes, heat waves, and heavy rainfall. Warmer temperatures provide more energy to fuel these events, leading to increased frequency and intensity.
Can you explain the concept of sea level rise and its relationship to climate change?
Sea level rise occurs due to the melting of ice caps and glaciers, as well as the expansion of seawater as it warms. Rising global temperatures contribute to this phenomenon, endangering coastal communities and ecosystems.
What are the consequences of climate change on agriculture and food security?
Climate change impacts agriculture by altering rainfall patterns, increasing the frequency of droughts and floods, and promoting the spread of pests and diseases. These factors threaten crop yields, food production, and overall food security.
How does climate change affect human health?
Climate change affects human health through various mechanisms. It increases the risk of heat-related illnesses, worsens air quality, expands the range of infectious diseases, and exacerbates mental health issues due to displacement and loss of livelihoods.
Are there any economic implications of climate change?
Yes, climate change has significant economic implications. It leads to increased costs related to disaster response, infrastructure damage, and healthcare expenditures. It also poses risks to industries dependent on natural resources, such as agriculture, tourism, and fishing.
Can individuals make a difference in mitigating climate change?
Absolutely. Individual actions like reducing energy consumption, adopting sustainable transportation, and making conscious consumer choices can collectively contribute to reducing greenhouse gas emissions and fostering a culture of sustainability.
How important is international cooperation in addressing climate change?
International cooperation is crucial in addressing climate change as it requires collective efforts to implement policies, share knowledge and resources, and negotiate agreements to reduce emissions and adapt to the changing climate.
Are there any successful examples of countries or communities taking action against climate change?
Yes, many countries and communities have taken positive steps. For instance, countries like Denmark and Costa Rica have made significant progress in transitioning to renewable energy sources. Local communities have implemented sustainable practices like community gardens and waste reduction initiatives.
Is there a role for businesses and industries in combating climate change?
Absolutely. Businesses can play a vital role by adopting sustainable practices, investing in renewable energy, reducing waste, and implementing eco-friendly technologies. They can drive innovation and contribute to a low-carbon economy.
How can we ensure a just transition to a sustainable future for all?
A just transition involves considering the social and economic implications of climate change measures and ensuring that vulnerable communities are not left behind. It requires equitable policies, investment in job training and creation, and addressing social inequalities to ensure a fair and inclusive transition.
What role does education and awareness play in addressing climate change?
Education and awareness are key to fostering a collective understanding of climate change and its impacts. By raising awareness, we can empower individuals to make informed decisions, advocate for change, and support sustainable practices in their communities.
Are there any technological advancements that can help combat climate change?
Yes, technological advancements play a crucial role. Innovations in renewable energy, energy storage, carbon capture, and sustainable agriculture have the potential to significantly reduce greenhouse gas emissions and promote a greener future.
Can you explain the concept of carbon footprint and how individuals can reduce it?
A carbon footprint is the total amount of greenhouse gases emitted directly or indirectly by an individual, organization, or product. Individuals can reduce their carbon footprint by conserving energy, using public transportation, eating less meat, and supporting renewable energy sources.
What policies can governments implement to address climate change effectively?
Governments can implement policies like carbon pricing, renewable energy incentives, energy efficiency standards, and regulations on emissions to drive the transition to a low-carbon economy and encourage sustainable practices.
Is there hope for the future? Can we reverse the effects of climate change?
While the impacts of climate change are already being felt, there is still hope. By taking immediate and decisive action to reduce emissions, adapt to the changing climate, and protect natural ecosystems, we can mitigate the worst effects and create a more sustainable and resilient future.
How can individuals get involved in climate change initiatives?
Individuals can get involved by supporting and participating in local climate change initiatives, volunteering for environmental organizations, contacting elected representatives to advocate for climate-friendly policies, and making sustainable choices in their daily lives.
What are the consequences of inaction on climate change?
The consequences of inaction on climate change are severe. They include more frequent and intense natural disasters, loss of biodiversity, food and water shortages, increased migration and displacement, and negative impacts on public health and economies.
Thank you for sharing your insights on climate change.